Hello and welcome along to Edge Animate with your host Robert Smith. In this part 2 of creating an animated logo, we're going to add some content. Now we can import content from Photoshop, etc., and some video, but we're going to use the tools that ship with Edge Animate. Now these tools will look fairly familiar to you if you're used to Illustrator or Photoshop. We've got a rectangle tool and a rounded corner tool and a circular tool like that, and a type tool and a hand tool, etc. We're going to work first of all with this rectangle tool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a rectangle, so it doesn't matter what size it is, like that. That's fine, that'll do. Now as you notice, as soon as I've clicked on this rectangle over here, the properties on the left hand side here have all changed, and these are all the things that we can keyframe and animate over time. If you're used to After Effects or Flash, these will look quite familiar. Just the way they're set out is a little bit different. Okay, I want to be a bit more fussy with the size of this rectangle that I've just drawn. So I'm going to click on it like that, and over here under width and height, I'll make sure this is disconnected so that I can type in individual numbers. So 1292, I want to make that, by 488. Make that 488. And I'm just going to move it into position like that. Very nice. Okay, there it is. Now I want to change the color of that to a dark brown. To do that, I'm going to click up here and go down to a fairly dark brown like that. And I've already saved them into the swatch, but I'll save them again. Whenever you choose one of these arbitrary colors here, you don't want to have to remember this down here like that. That's a little bit too complicated. So we'll just click on the plus button here, and that will add it to our swatches. Great. Okay, now you'll notice down here we've got a layer with a rectangle on it. So if I double click on that, I'm going to call that brown rec, like that. Now that's not going to do anything in terms of animation, so I'm going to lock that layer. Actually not yet. Before I lock it, I'm going to duplicate it by holding the Option key down and dragging down to make a copy of it, like that. And you'll notice now I've got a second layer down here. I'm going to change that color to a more sort of pinky color, like that. And I'm going to add that again to my swatches by clicking here. Now what I'm going to do is grab this and drag it by the handle like that till it's just about there. That's exactly where I want it. So I'm going to double click on that and call that pink rec, like that. Now I'm ready to go. So I'm going to lock this layer. I'm not going to do anything with that. And I'll also lock this layer as well because it's not going to do any animation. Okay, now I need something to animate. What I'm going to try and create is a stylized letter D that animates into position. To do that, I'm going to start off with a rectangle like this. Drag a rectangle, any size, doesn't matter. But I want to change the color because it's using the old brown color there, hard to see. So I'm going to click on that and make it a red color. About that color is good. And again, I'll click in here to save it into my swatches so I can use it. Now I want this to be a specific size. In this case it's going to be 223 by 427, like that. Fantastic, and I'll move it to about here, which is where I want it to be. Okay, looking good. Now what I want to do is I want to adjust the corners, and Edge Animate has a wonderful way of doing that. Down here you'll see in the properties palette over here, you'll see a thing called corners. And what we can do with this is we can have either 4 corners or 8 corners like this. We're going to have 4 corners, and I'm going to adjust the top right hand number like this by clicking and dragging. You'll notice what it's doing. It's giving me a rounded corner, and I'll drag it out till it meets this middle white thing here, and it looks like that, and I'll click off it. So that's going to be the stroke of my D that looks like that. Now in all animation we tend to rotate things and scale things, and we scale them from something called a registration point. In Edge Animate they like to call it the origin, and that's this thing over here, and it refers to this little thing in the middle. Right now if we were to rotate it like that, it's rotating around the middle. We don't want that. Apple Z that. What do I need here? I need an X of 0 like this, and I need a Y of 100 like that. And now it's right down in the bottom corner, exactly as we want it, so we can rotate that at any time. Okay, now I'm going to make another rectangle, and this rectangle will be, click here and just drag any size, doesn't matter when you drag it at first I should say. So it's 223 by 228, so I need that 220 by 228, like that. I'm going to put this over here so it looks like it's connected to that D. I might nudge it a bit with the arrow key to nudge it across a little bit. Okay, and what I want to do, I want to do the same thing with the corners. I want to make this corner rounded, so I'm going to click on that, go down to my corners down the bottom, make it 4, like that, and just drag that all the way across like this top left hand corner. And now I've got my stylized D. I've added some content. You'll notice down here we've again got 2 layers. Every time you draw something you'll get a new layer. So if I click that, I'm going to double click on that and call that red D, like that. That's not Ted D, red D, and this one here I'm going to call it red circle, like that. Okay, now we've set up some content inside Edge Animate. It's time to go to the timeline and animate our little character here, and that'll happen in the next video. Okay, so thanks for watching.